Hello and welcome back to Blind Guy TV. Here we are at Garage 24 Motorsport near Warminster. And as you can see, I'm with the GT40. I've come around here to look at progress. Now, I'm just going to stand up and you can see that the front bodywork is on. Fuel caps are in place. No windscreen at the moment. But look at the back bodywork. We've got the back bodywork in place. And obviously the rear wheels are here. And this bodywork, you'll recall, is original Ford GT40 Mark 1 bodywork from a 65 Le Mans car. So I was very fortunate to be able to find this, and I'm going to show you around there next. Okay, I just thought we'll show you the right hand side, and the steering is in. I know last time I showed that the gear linkage is in, and the gear linkage panel there is all good. Also, a bit of a surprise is the dashboard is in, because I frankly got a bit of a shock. Remember, I can't see a thing. So I was holding the steering wheel and I felt the dashboard, but I thought it was the bonnet. And I thought, oh my God, what's happened here? The bonnet's inside the cockpit. But no, it's the dashboard. Now, people have been asking me where all these parts come from. Well, for instance, this dashboard, it is new old stock and came from a gentleman down on the south coast of England who supplies original style dashboards and replica dashboards for the kit cars based on this original new old stock dashboard. The steering wheel, well, this is at the moment a Motorlita steering wheel, so you can buy those on their website. I'm hoping to be able to get an original steering wheel soon to replace this, although it has got a very rare, unique bezel here, the centre of the steering wheel, which is just beautiful, and it's original, and it's unique. You're never going to find another of those anywhere. You really aren't. Starting with the chassis, well, as I said in the last video, this is an old prototype chassis. And what happened when I sold my white GT40, the one that had taken me 10 years to rebuild using all original parts out in New Zealand, I sold it, and I got an email from a gentleman in France who said, he knew where there was a original chassis, or original-ish chassis, shall we say, in a barn near Le Mans in France. I was very interested. So he sent me pictures. I had someone go and look at the chassis, and hey presto, it is the real deal. I don't think, well, I've no idea, to be honest. I don't suppose it was made by Abbey Panels of Coventry. It may have been made by a firm called Tennant. It's certainly a prototype, because poor old James, who runs the garage here, has had to do an awful lot of modifications where the suspension fits, where the engine fits. He just had to move things around a little bit, space of this, space of that. Nothing was just quite right. But I understand that's quite not rare, shall we say, with original GT40 chassis. As I said before, it's under the black. It's green zinc chromate paint, which is very old. It's a primer, All the 60s GT40s and a lot of light aircraft are still done in that now. If you're looking inside a fuselage of a light aircraft, you'll see these sort of greenish, tingish, sort of transparent paint, and that's zinc chromate, and it stops corrosion in steel and aluminium. Could it have been a Sparrow chassis? S-B-A-R-U. I think it's S-B-A-R-U. No, it's not. Two reasons. One of them is that original chassis, they have three. If I just get out and show you, I'm just going to stand in front of you a second. I'm going to show you the door aperture. If you see, there's three ribs, and you follow it forward past the fuel tank aperture, you'll see it's two ribs. Okay, and that is original. Yeah, that is original. On the Subaru chassis, they created a third rib here. All right, for some reason. I mean, I suppose it does match the three ribs there, but that's not right. So whoever made this, whether it's original or not, it is the original spacings. The other thing about a Sparrow chassis is that all this isn't steel, it's fiberglass, because the roof is very difficult to make on a GT40. The roof pressings. And when I came here today, I'm just going to go a bit further back. When I came here today, I was very, very pleased because James has now got the rear clam on, and if you look at the gap, it needs a bit of adjustment, but it's as good as you're going to get on a GT40. Original GT40s always have problems with the gaps. They've got big spaces here, big spaces there, too close here, too close there. If you see a GT40 at a show, you'll know whether it's original or not, because if it's absolutely beautiful shut lines, it's more than likely a replica kit car, because someone has spent time in his garage, spent hundreds of hours in the chassis, filling, sanding, to get it perfect. But this is just as it is, as it was in 1965. And I was really also very pleased to see that not only does the front clam fit the chassis, but the rear clam fits the chassis straight away with no modification. The doors, I already know the doors fit. They are into the aperture perfectly. Now, the bodywork, I knew about the bodywork for probably about 20 years. I knew it was in someone's garage in Surrey, and luckily, once I sold my white GT40, I contacted the chap in Surrey who I knew had it, and he said, yeah, he was going to build a GT40 from it, but time's gone on and he hasn't. So I was able to buy it off him, and it's just fabulous. We're not going to respray it. Obviously, we'll spray the roof. It's all in primer, but we're not going to spray this because it's original paint. You know, whether it matches, doesn't match, a bit scratched, and it shows all the action it's seen in the past. A bit like if you see a Stratocaster guitar, nowadays they bash things to pieces to make them look old. Well, this just is old, and that's why it's got various marks on it. What else? The engine. The engine that I was just talking about last week is a 289 Hypo GT40 engine. It's the original mid-60s engine, iron block, iron heads. At the moment, it's got a Holley carburetor on it, although it will eventually get the quad 48 IDA Webbers once the engine is run in. Now that was an incredible find. My good friend James Kerr, who has a stately home up in Derbyshire, he said he'd seen on Facebook Marketplace a GT40 engine for sale, and had been totally rebuilt by an engineer who works for the United States Air Force, working on those swing wing vertical takeoff Osprey aircraft. And his hobby was building 289-302 engines. And he even had a dyno set up in his double garage, behind glass, with the remote control starting, all the tachometers, the pressures, the oil temperature gauge, oil pressure, water temperature gauge. So he's basically more or less test run the engine. And I've seen the video, it works. Oh, it just sounds fantastic. So that's in there now. Where did anything else come from? Well, the suspension is all original. Some of it's new old stock, some of it's original fat. And it's, you just got to keep your ear to the ground and keep asking questions. For instance, only today, someone I know who was around in the 60s with GT40s helped me an awful lot with the white car to supply, at great expense, original parts. I found his number in my book, gave him a ring, and I was pleased to hear from him, and he was pleased to hear from me. And James, my friend in Derbyshire, and I are going to go down and see him in the new year, maybe in the spring, when it's a bit warmer, and try and squirrel some parts out of him, because he has an awful lot of original used GT40 parts in a ship's container, and he's getting to that age where he needs to be selling this stuff. So we'll be having a good poke around and take our checkbooks, because James is also building a GT40. Shall we call it a mongrel original, made out of completely original parts, although his project is a way off yet, because he hasn't found a chassis. Right, I think that's about it for now. Please don't forget to subscribe. It really does help if you subscribe. If you like, it helps, and if you comment, it even helps more. So we could just say what you think of the project, maybe give me some ideas what I should be doing, maybe when it's finished where I could take it, shows, races, probably have it raced at some point. I know my white car, we took it to the Silverstone Media Day one March, and it raced around the track there with a racing driver in it. So that was a very, very interesting day, because there's all sorts of original cars there, original racing drivers. Mark Brundle was there, I think Jensen Button was there, people like that. It's just really fabulous to be amongst them. So there we go, that's all for now, folks. Keep well, have a happy Christmas if I don't speak to you again, and see you in the new year. Bye.